Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on Production Linked Incentive, popularly called as PLI scheme. Thanks for joining in large number. This happens to be our first non-tax webinar, so we were quite skeptical as to how many of you will be interested, but seeing the response, many people have joined. PLI is an important scheme which the government has announced last year onwards. Initially, it was confined to few sectors, and then the government has increased it. In our view, it's a very attractive scheme which incentivizes indigenization and increase in manufacturing capacity. And in the past also, the government has introduced many schemes which have really encouraged companies to increase manufacturing capacity in India and in turn increase the level of industrialization. Past such schemes were like area-based exemptions in Uttaranchal, Himachal, J&K, Northeast, which led to rapid industrialization in these states. And in many of these states, even when these schemes are still not there, the industries continue to flourish. The government introduced SEZs, EOU schemes. Various state governments comes with various industrial policies for respective states. Government introduced MSIPs for electronic sector, etc. So in today's webinar, we'll be giving you an overview of PLI scheme based on what has been introduced for 4 sectors till now. We'll be telling you which sectors are likely to be covered in near future, what we can expect, etc. But yes, the whole webinar will be broad-based. It will not be any sector or product specific, because different sectors have different schemes and those need to be analyzed in greater detail. So, starting with the background. So, in last few months or years, especially when India government is there, you will see a lot of focus on domestic production, and the government has come up with its own terms and policies, be it in Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Vocal for Local. So PLI scheme is also a step in that direction. It also encourages multinational companies, foreign companies to set up manufacturing facilities in India. And the story so far has been encouraging. Many large companies have come up with huge investment plans to set up manufacturing bases in India. So the purpose from the policy document, the purpose was that the government realized that there are significant manufacturing disabilities if a company manufactures goods in India. As per government's own estimate, only the disadvantage is in the tune of 8.5 to 11%. So that's the purpose of bringing PLI scheme. And secondly, though it's unsaid, it is likely to have a multiplier effect, because if industrialization increases, the collection of taxes, be it customs duty if raw materials are imported by such companies, GST when goods are sold by such companies in India, and even income tax on whatever profits they are earning in India. So it will have a multiplier effect for the country. And even though the government has not come out clearly, but as per economic estimates, the amount of incentives the government is giving under PLI scheme is minuscule of the multiplier effect of incremental taxes which government will be collecting from this. So the roadmap had been in April 2020, first PLI scheme was introduced for mobile phones and components. In July, it was extended to drug intermediaries as well. In September 2020, though it's totally unconnected with PLI scheme, another step for encouraging localization was that the government brought in Public Procurement Order 2017. It's a very important document, and especially if any of you supply goods to government undertakings or directly to the government, etc. So purchase preference has been given to indigenous manufacturers as compared to overseas ones. That continues to be in operation. In October, PLI was extended for medical devices. In November 2020, this is important for us that the government approved 10 key sectors to which PLI will be extended. And in February 2021, they have extended it to telecom as well. So just to clarify here, as far as telecom is still open, but as far as 10 key sectors, the cabinet has approved the scheme, but the scheme is likely to be launched in near future. So no policy or notifications are available in public domain. Moving ahead, we see a lot of news reports, especially in last month or so, where Prime Minister is saying that PLI will create ecosystem for production and manufacture of quality products. The government is bringing it for chemical sector. This is likely to encourage or increase exports. Large manufacturers, be it the iPhone manufacturer, Samsung, they have expressed interest in PLI scheme and have made applications for it. So the story so far has been very encouraging, and the government has got a very positive response on PLI scheme. Coming to the scheme per se, so before telling what is relevant, we thought we'll tell you what is irrelevant, because even the questions which we have got till now are surrounded around this also, that there are certain criteria which are irrelevant for PLI. So geographical location of unit is irrelevant, whether you are located in a particular state, area, etc. Number and domicile of employees is irrelevant. Very importantly, exports are irrelevant. So the PLI scheme is not asking you to make some minimum level of exports. Another important aspect is that PLI scheme is over and above any other benefits which you are availing, and PLI scheme spells it out very explicitly. So if you are availing customs duty concession on imports, if you are availing export incentives, be it duty drawback, road tax, advance authorization, EPCG, if you are getting any incentives from state governments, or if you're getting any other incentives. So PLI scheme is over and above this. So to that extent, it is very attractive. So now coming to what is relevant. First and foremost, the eligibility criteria. Then will come out how much is the incentive amount. And then we'll come to the procedure. So starting with eligibility. So when we started PLI scheme for different sectors, etc., we found that there are some common threads which are appearing, starting with whether the company should be registered in India. So these are the qualifying criteria. It should manufacture targeted products. So we'll be discussing later that which are the products covered. For some sectors, even minimum net worth criteria is there, that the applicant should have this much minimum net worth. Very important aspect that different schemes talk about different projects. Some schemes talk about greenfield projects, that it is mandatory that you should set up a new manufacturing facility only. Some schemes are silent on the nature of projects. So impliedly greenfield, brownfield both are permitted. Or some schemes specifically permit also the brownfield expansion. The schemes also have minimum investment criteria, which is based on the schemes till now is 10 to 1000 crore. Incremental investment is defined as expenditure on plant and machinery, equipment, utilities, etc. So second-hand plant and machinery is permitted for mobile phones, R&D, transfer of technology. It specifically excludes expenditure on land and building in general, but for some schemes, even expenditure on building is also covered. Minimum incremental sales. So the scheme envisages that due to the expansion or setting up of new unit which you are undertaking, your sales should overall increase. Till now, the base year is 2019-20. So only if you achieve incremental sales, then only you will be entitled for the incentive. So based on different schemes, the incremental sales value ranges from 30 crore to even 25,000 crores. For some schemes, and especially to encourage super large manufacturing companies, they are talking about minimum global manufacturing revenue also, that the company or its group companies put together should have minimum this much revenue, which is ranging between 50 crores to 10,000 crores. And lastly, some schemes also talk about minimum domestic value addition, that this much value of domestic value addition takes place, like for our drug sector. Another important aspect is that if you satisfy all these conditions, again, you may not automatically become eligible for the scheme. You will have to file an application, etc. Different schemes have come up with a ceiling on number of eligible companies. So those numbers are as low as 5 also in some cases, that maximum 5 number of companies will be entitled for this benefit. And different schemes have come out with different scorecards, that if they get more applications, then different applicants will be assessed on that basis. Now coming to a few case studies just to bring across this point clearly. Say a company has a manufacturing unit in Haryana and it shifts its unit to Gujarat. So the question is whether it will be eligible. The answer is no, for the reason that no incremental investment is happening and it is just a case of shifting of unit only. Case study 2. Suppose there is a company having a manufacturing unit in Haryana. It undertakes brownfield expansion, and for that purpose it imports second-hand plant and machinery. So whether it's eligible, so in general it is not eligible unless a particular PLI scheme specifically permits so. This is also very important, and especially for upcoming technologies or sectors, that there is a supplier who supplies goods to an eligible company. Eligible company means a company who is eligible for PLI benefit. Whether the supplier will be eligible or not, the answer is no. Unless the supplier's goods are per se covered under PLI scheme and it follows those procedures, etc., then only it will be covered. And the last case study is, say for example, there's an existing unit having turnover of 100 crores in the base year. At that time, the new unit was not in existence. So in 2019-20, it had turnover of 100 crores. So in 2020-21, let's take different scenarios. It set up a new unit. Existing unit's turnover became 110. The new unit's turnover was 20. So the total turnover is 130. So the question is, what is incremental sales for PLI? Why this question is relevant is, if you see New units turnover, it's 20 only. But if you see at a company level, it becomes 30. So the answer is 30 because the scheme talks about incremental sales at a company level only, not at a unit level. Therefore, even the incremental sales of 10 of existing units stands included. The second scenario is that, say for example, the company shifted entire business from existing unit to new unit. And in 2020-21, the turnover of existing unit was nil, and the entire sales were taking place from new unit only, which becomes 130. So in that case also the incremental sales will be 30, even if the existing unit does not make any sales at all. Last and most complex, that existing units turnover is 130. New unit did not make any sales, but yes, the company fulfilled all the criteria, got approvals for PLI, etc. So the turnover is 130. So the incremental sales is 30 only. So if we talk about theoretically, the company should get PLI benefit on 30. But if you see logically, the whole purpose for which PLI was granted was to increase manufacturing capacity in India, and those capacities should be put to use, which in the last illustration is not getting fulfilled. Therefore, in our view, considering the purpose of the scheme in the last scenario, the benefit should not be available. Now, coming to the incentive, so I'm joined by my colleague Deepti. So she'll be taking presentation further here from the incentive, procedure, and other aspects. Over to you, Deepti.
Thank you, Puneet. Good morning, everyone. Now that we have discussed what are the eligibility criteria under existing PLI schemes, we'll see what are the incentives available under the existing schemes. Now, incentive is offered under the schemes as a percentage of incremental sales. Now, we discussed what incremental sales were. Those were additional sales that you attained over and above your base year figure. So, as you can see, for mobile, the incentives range from 4 to 6%. For bulk drugs, the incentives range from 5 to 20%. For medical devices, they have capped the incentive at 5%. And for telecom, the incentives range from 4 to 7%. Now, it's important to note that for the telecom sector, they have segregated the incentive based on entities being MSME and other than MSME. Also, for all of the schemes, it's important to note that for the first 2 years of the scheme, of the PLI scheme, the incentive is at its highest rate. So for mobile, for first 2 years, the entities would get incentive at 6%, and then subsequently it will be 5% and 4%. So that is how over the course of the scheme, the incentives would be distributed. Also, for bulk drugs, the incentive, which ranges from 5 to 20%, differs based on the products. So for fermentation-based products, the rate of incentive is different. For chemical synthesis products, the rate of incentive is different. So in all these cases, the companies, the eligible applicants need to see the targeted product that they are manufacturing and the year in which they are making the claims to understand the incentive that would be eligible to them. That's it. Now we'll understand what is the procedure to apply for PLI schemes. Now, before proceeding ahead, I will like to mention that the procedure that we are mentioning is generically common to all the existing PLI schemes. In addition, the applicants must also refer to the guidelines from specific ministry to understand if there is any other more condition that is important. So once the company assesses their eligibility and they understand that they are eligible under PLI scheme, they should submit an application to the project management agency. So under each of the schemes, they have identified one project management agency which constitutes people from respective ministries. Now, when the application is received by the management agency, they'll first see if the applicant meets the criteria or not. If the applicant does not meet the criteria, the application would be rejected. If the application is incomplete and there are deficiencies which are to be rectified, the monitoring agency will intimate the applicant that there are certain deficiencies in their application which are to be rectified. Once the applicant submits a proper complete application and the criteria are fulfilled, then the project management agency will forward the application and recommend to the MPART committee. Now, MPART committee is also a committee organized under respective ministries, and they'll assess whom to be allotted, who will be approved. Now, as Puneet had highlighted earlier, that in certain ministries they'll be allotting scorecards that basis on their score the applicants would get selected and they would be ranked, and the top 4 or 5 ranked applicants would get approved. So once MPART committee receives the recommendation and they identify the top performing applicants, they'll approve and send the approval letter to the applicants. So this is how broadly the application procedure works. And in addition to that, every applicant must also see the specific guidelines under respective ministries. Now, as we mentioned earlier, in November 2020, certain sectors were approved for which PLI scheme will shortly be introduced. So we'll go ahead and understand what should be expected of these approved sectors. First of all, let's understand the sectors and the targeted products for which the PLI scheme would now be introduced. First being telecom, which has already been introduced last month. The products covered under this scheme are core transmission equipment, 4G, 5G, next generation radio access network, enterprise equipment, switches, router, etc. So this scheme is already in operation and has been released last month only, and specific guidelines are yet to be released from the Ministry of Telecom. Now the next product is advanced chemistry cell batteries. The targeted products are ACC batteries only. Next is automobile and auto component, and the targeted products are automobile and auto components. It's believed that when the specific PLI is rolled out, they'll list out the certain products for which the scheme would be applicable. But for now, they have generically mentioned automobile and auto components. For electronic and technology products, they have approved semiconductor, display fab, laptop, notebook, servers, specified computer hardware as the targeted products for which PLI would be shortly released. Next is food products. For food products, they have approved ready-to-eat, ready-to-cook food products, fruits and vegetables, honey, desi ghee, mozzarella cheese, organic eggs, etc. as the targeted products. For pharmaceuticals, they have identified a list of drugs which would be covered, some of them being biopharmaceuticals, complex generic drugs, patented drugs, etc. Solar PV manufacturing. For solar PV manufacturing, the targeted products are solar PVs. For steel parts, the products are coated steel, high strength steel, steel rails, and alloy steel bars and rods. For textiles, they have approved man-made fibers and technical textiles. And finally, for white goods, they have approved air conditioners and LED. So these are the approved sectors, out of which only telecom has been released yet. And for the rest of the sectors, the PLI would be rolled out shortly, probably in the upcoming financial year. Now for each of the sectors, they have allotted a specific budget under which the PLI scheme would operate. As you can see, for telecom, they have approved 12,195 crores. For ACC battery, it is 18,100 crore. As you can see, for automobile and auto components, they have chunked out a significant portion of money for this sector, which is 57,042 crores. Then for electronic products, it's 5,000. And for food products, it's 10,900. For pharmaceuticals, it's 15,000. For solar PV manufacturing, 4,500. And then for the rest of the sectors, they have allotted this budget. So like I mentioned earlier that for automobile, they have chunked out a huge consideration. So it can be expected that a lot of applicants would be selected under this sector, and it would be open to a lot many applicants as is prevailing in the current PLI schemes. Now we have seen how the existing PLI schemes work and function. We can gauge what can be expected for the upcoming sectors. From eligibility perspective, the first criteria that we can expect is greenfield, brownfield projects. For each of the sector, the companies must see that what are the conditions that have been approved. If greenfield projects have been approved or brownfield projects have been approved. If greenfield projects have been approved, then the company can see if they allow ancillary units being put up in their SEZ or EOU units or not. So specific guidelines have to be referred to. Then minimum investments, that every company would be required to make certain investments. It could be at the beginning of the scheme or incremental investment to be attained over the course of the scheme. And then finally, the company must attain certain minimum incremental sales, which from the existing PLI schemes, we can see a figure of 30 crore to 25,000 crore. So these are the certain criteria which we can expect from an eligibility perspective. From incentive perspective, as we have seen that the minimum percentage that of incentive that was offered was 4%. So for all of the sectors that have been approved now, we can safely presume that at least 4% of incremental sales would be offered as incentive under the PLI schemes. And finally, if news reports are to be believed, automobile sector is likely to roll out its PLI scheme in April 2021, which gives us a very short time to assess our eligibility and see if we are going to undertake any expansion projects in the near future. I would like to hand over to Puneet, who will explain the way forward.
Thank you, Deepti. Now, coming to the last part of our presentation on way forward, we will suggest that you should regularly track developments on PLI front, because even the 4% incentive as a percentage of sales, etc., is a significant benefit for many industries. Even the 4% is not the net margin also they earn. If you're planning to undertake expansion, then you should get an assessment done as to what is the level of investments you're likely to make, what are the sales projections, based on whatever has come till now, will you be meeting those criteria or not? It is also important to see that from your business perspective, how it should be structured, greenfield or brownfield, and yes, we also need to see from a policy perspective what is being permitted. Apart from PLI, because PLI is a benefit over and above the existing benefits, so you should also see if you're going for a greenfield expansion as to are there any state industrial policies available in particular states, etc. So depending upon the benefits offered in the state industrial policies, also you can make decision for greenfield expansions. One important aspect is, and which is clearly coming from government's press releases, is that the government is quite open on the PLI. So even if you're interested in making some investments in the products which per se, be the product wise or the sector wise, which are not covered in PLI till now, you can make a representation to the government, to the respective ministry, to bring PLI for that as well, and government is open for that. And lastly, based on the experience till now, the time limit for filing application is limited only. It was as short as 30 days in some cases to 4 months in others. So therefore, if you're going ahead with expansions, etc., if you are interested in PLI scheme, then you should ensure that application is filed timely. Yeah, thank you everyone for joining in large number, and we'll keep you updated on further developments on this. And as and when this PLI schemes, etc., will come, we'll keep sending you updates and organizing webinars. Thank you once again.